Hey everyone, we've got a lot to talk about today because a powerful storm system is getting ready to impact a large portion of the United States, and it's definitely taken a pretty big shift compared to what we were expecting even just a day ago. We're now looking at an increased threat for significant damaging winds, large to very large hail, and yes, even a few tornadoes as we go from today into tomorrow. This threat stretches all the way from the southern plains through the Ohio and Tennessee valleys and will eventually work its way toward the East Coast. But that's not all. Next week looks weird. Like, really strange. We're talking about a totally different kind of weather pattern setting up across the country. So in today's forecast, I'm breaking it all down for you. What's happening right now, what's coming over the next few days, and what to expect next week. Let's jump into it. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Starting off with what's going on across the country today. Once again, we've seen some fairly active, severe weather in the last 24 hours. A line of thunderstorms developed overnight in the southern plains, especially across southern and central Oklahoma and parts of North Texas. These storms brought damaging wind gusts, hail, and even a tornado yesterday afternoon, just southwest of Killeen, Texas. I was actually live when that one hit. Pretty wild stuff if you were tuned in. Most of that activity has since fizzled out overnight and is now pushing eastward. Over on the East Coast this morning, things are a lot calmer unless you're up in the Northeast, where there are still some leftover showers and thunderstorms hanging around from yesterday's system, but nothing too concerning there. Now, let's get into the severe weather potential for today, which has definitely ramped up. The Storm Prediction Center has now issued an enhanced risk. That's a level 3 out of 5 for a huge area stretching from Texas all the way up through Kentucky. Surrounding that, we've also got a slight risk from Ohio back down through Texas, and even a marginal risk reaching into the Northeast. The biggest concern today is definitely going to be damaging winds. As we move into late morning and early afternoon, those winds are expected to ramp up significantly from Kentucky and Tennessee all the way down through Texas and Louisiana. And on top of that, there's a zone where very large hail will be a real issue, especially around Killeen, Waco, and areas just north of Houston. So if you're in those spots, I'd definitely suggest keeping your car under some kind of shelter if you can. Believe it or not, we could even see hail up to the size of golf balls as far northeast as Vermont and Massachusetts. Now, in terms of tornadoes today, the risk is low, but not zero. I do think we'll probably see at least 1 or 2 spin-ups somewhere across this large region. I'm keeping my eye especially on 2 zones, one in Kentucky and Tennessee, and another down in Texas. And if you're wondering about the timing for those tornadoes, I'd say between 2 and 5 p.m. in both areas. Now, moving on to Saturday, our severe weather risk shifts over to the East Coast. We're still looking at a chance for damaging winds and some hail, but this is going to be more isolated. I'm not expecting a big tornado outbreak or anything, though I wouldn't rule out a quick spin-up somewhere if a strong enough storm forms. Saturday's tornado threat is pretty low, but again, not zero. Back to today real quick. Tornado potential is still expected to stay on the lower side overall, but our STP values, the significant tornado parameter, are going to be high enough to support an isolated tornado or 2, especially around and east of Memphis just after lunchtime. Same goes for Texas. Near our surface boundary, we'll have enough wind shear for a brief tornado or 2 there this afternoon. I think the peak window for tornadoes today is really short, probably between 3 and 4 p.m., especially near Nashville, central Kentucky, and back down into Texas. After about 6 p.m., the risk should start to taper off. So, yeah, Not a huge tornado day, but definitely one to stay aware for. Make sure you've got multiple ways to receive alerts, weather radios, apps, whatever works best for you. As for storm timing, this morning, a broken line of storms will move through parts of Arkansas and Missouri. That should start intensifying around lunchtime across western Kentucky, Tennessee, and along the Mississippi River Valley. At first, damaging winds will be the main issue, but as we move into the early afternoon, the tornado threat will tick up a little bit. Between 3 and 4 p.m., that line of storms pushes through central Kentucky and Tennessee, bringing continued risk for strong winds and possibly some hail. By 5 to 6 p.m., the action moves towards Cincinnati, Dayton, and even into northern Alabama. Around that same time, we'll see the storms reach central Kentucky and weaken a bit by the time they get into the Appalachians and Georgia later in the evening. After midnight, scattered showers and thunderstorms will still be around, but the severe risk should really drop off. Over in the southern plains Saturday morning, we'll also have a few storms, but they'll be elevated and not very concerning. But then things really ramp up again by Saturday afternoon. Around 2 or 3 p.m., storms will start firing across Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and I mean a lot of storms. We're talking numerous hail-producing cells scattered across the region. The core of this activity will likely be from San Angelo to East Texas and into western Louisiana. Large hail, strong winds, and a couple of tornadoes will be possible from those initial storms. Later in the evening, those storms start organizing into a line, and the main threat shifts more toward wind, though some hail will still be possible. Around 7 or 8 p.m., that line will push into the Houston area. I don't think it'll be too intense by that point, but there could still be some marginally severe winds and hail. By 9 or 10 p.m., it should start weakening even more as it gets closer to the Gulf Coast. Now, heading into next week, this is where things start to get really weird. We're looking at a complex setup with 2 different low-pressure systems, one in the Four Corners and another in the Ohio Valley. Between them, we'll have an omega block setting up. What this basically means is we'll have an active weather pattern sitting over the central and southern plains and another one along the east coast. Whether or not we get severe weather out of this will depend on whether high pressure over the southern plains stays weak enough to allow moisture up from the Gulf. If it does, then yeah, we're likely talking about a few rounds of severe weather from Monday through Wednesday in places like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and maybe even parts of the southeast. The East Coast could also see some storms, but those will probably stay marginal each day. Toward the middle and end of the week, that low-pressure system weakens and drifts east, which should open the door for more activity across the southeast, possibly some heavy rain and maybe isolated severe storms. So that's the latest, folks. As always, I'll keep you posted with updates right here. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and I'll see you in the next one.